Hey guys, Brandon Koelis here, Director of the Salt Lake Community College Concurrent Enrollment Program. And today, in this episode, I'm going to take you on a journey through our staffing and organizational structure for our Concurrent Enrollment Program here at the college. Now, I realize that across the nation, there are an endless variety of flavors and variations to how concurrent enrollment programs are structured out there. Even in the state of Utah, the institutions just north and south of us are structured vastly differently. And for good reason. All of our institutions are organized differently. Our focuses may be slightly different, and the resources that we have available to us are also going to vary. So what I'm going to share with you today, it may or may not give you some ideas of what you can do, but if nothing else, it will at least give you some context as we move forward in subsequent episodes and talk about other features and other aspects of our program. So today, I'm going to show you the structure that works for us. And really, it's a structure that has evolved over the years as we have tried to clarify our priorities and sort of refine our purpose and direction as a program. In fact, if you were to step back in time, even just 5 years ago, our organizational structure was vastly different to what it is today. So, with that said, I'm going to dive over into our org chart and I'm going to give you a tour through that and introduce you to a couple of our staff. And that will give you a good sense of one way that you can possibly structure a concurrent enrollment program. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop over into our organization chart. All right, so we are going to begin this organizational chart journey by starting at the very top with the SLCC President and the Executive Cabinet. We are extremely fortunate here at Salt Lake Community College that we have strong support from the college leadership when it comes to concurrent enrollment. The leadership feels very strongly that concurrent enrollment is an integral part of the institution in carrying out its mission. From the SLCC President, we drop down into the Vice President of Student Affairs. So concurrent enrollment is housed under Student Affairs. And under the Vice President of Student Affairs is the Assistant Vice President of Enrollment Management, where the concurrent enrollment program, or the concurrent enrollment director, reports. Now I'm going to take a minute and go through the concurrent enrollment department structure. So underneath the concurrent enrollment director is a there are 4 college experience liaisons. These individuals are responsible for ensuring the integrity of the concurrent enrollment college experience out there in the high schools. They work directly, if we scroll down here, with 300, actually there's about 350 high school concurrent enrollment instructors, and also with around 60 faculty content liaisons. The college experience liaisons ensure that these individuals have access to all of the resources, information, and support that they need to carry out their responsibilities, and they provide college experience evaluations for concurrent enrollment instructors. Now, a little later on in a subsequent episode, we're going to dive deep into the liaison model and sort of how that's structured. So you'll get a sense of how these individuals work with these individuals to ensure the quality and the integrity of concurrent enrollment courses. Next, we move over to the Concurrent Enrollment Coordinator. The Concurrent Coordinator is primarily responsible for handling all things admission, registration, scheduling, and in working with around 80 different high school concurrent enrollment coordinators who are essentially the individuals who manage the concurrent enrollment programs at their high school. So these individuals collaborate together to ensure that students are admitted, registered, that all classes are scheduled, that instructor applications are submitted on time, and all other components of managing a concurrent enrollment program. So that is their responsibility. Next, we move over to the administrative assistant, who is the front face of concurrent enrollment. She handles all of the phone calls, emails, works with students and parents who have issues, and assists there. Also, I should mention that the administrative assistant, the concurrent enrollment coordinator, and the part-time office specialist are all cross-trained so that if one of them is gone, we can still continue our operations seamlessly. The part-time office specialist is basically the main support for these two individuals. She assists them with anything that they need help with, so that they can focus on their primary responsibilities. So a lot of the tasks that they're maybe too busy to get to are handed off to this individual, or if there's something that becomes quite heavy and they need all three of them to work on, then she is sort of the overflow person to help them handle those tasks. Finally, we move over to our part-time video production student intern. This is an individual a student who helps us to create videos like these. Also, this student will create videos such as our new teacher training video series, webinars that we do with our concurrent enrollment partners to help train them, recording events, and other promotional videos that we've put together. Videos also like the first day of class videos. So anything video related, that is what this student intern does. Now, the beautiful thing about this position is that it doesn't cost our program a dime. This is a position that we acquired through Career Services and their internship program. So we had identified that there was it would be nice and there was a need for us to create videos to reach out and train our instructors and other high school partners. So we drafted up a position, and this is fully funded by the Career Services Office. So again, going back to that resourcefulness. Okay, now I'm going to jump up and we're going to move over here. Again, under the Assistant Vice President of Enrollment Management, we have our Director of Admissions, who is sort of a peer to myself, the Concurrent Enrollment Director. The Admissions Department is one department that the Concurrent Enrollment Office has partnered very closely with to sort of further our purpose. Under the Director of Admissions, there is an Assistant Director of Recruiting and Concurrent Enrollment Outreach. This position is a position that is fully funded by the Concurrent Enrollment Department. Underneath the assistant director are a couple of managers. They're not officially managers, but just to give you a sense of how it's structured. So there are managers, and under those managers are 3 advisors and recruiters. The Concurrent Enrollment Office also funds at least one of these positions. I think it's one of the manager positions, and perhaps one of the advisors. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on what these individuals do. I'll give you the quick high-level overview because, again, in a subsequent video, one of our episodes, we're going to go through in great detail how these individuals operate to provide advising and academic planning resources to students out there so that they are strategic about the classes that they take and aren't just accumulating a bunch of useless credit. So we have the manager. Under the manager are 3 advisors. Now I've got it split here, so you got a manager and a manager. One of these oversees sort of the traditional high schools, and then the other works with charters and adult recruiting. But either way, both of them have advisors underneath that are split between advising responsibilities and recruiting responsibilities, so that they're both offering academic planning and they're offering recruitment services to high schools and adults out there. Now, if we jump back up under the Director of Admissions, under the Director of Admissions, there's another Assistant Director, and under the Assistant Director is a Concurrent Enrollment Admissions Processor. This is another position that our office funds, and this individual helps us with processing admission applications, dealing with errors that we encounter when students are applying for admissions or when they attempt to register and they have an admissions-related issue. And that is the Concurrent Enrollment organizational structure. Let's zoom out here so you can get a quick look at the overview. That is how we are organized. All right, now, like I said before, there are a bazillion different ways that you could potentially structure your program, based on your own unique needs, the limitations at your institution, the circumstances and the design of your institution. There are so many different ways you could structure. But I think the most important thing is that, first of all, that you figure out what it is you want to accomplish with your concurrent enrollment program. It goes back to that idea of defining your purpose, because without that, it really doesn't matter how you're structured and how you're organized, because you're just going to accomplish whatever you accomplish. As soon as you define purpose and intention and figure out what you want to accomplish, then you can look at your structure and say, okay, so then what do I need within my staffing and organization in order to accomplish that purpose? So the first thing is to define that purpose. The second is to then look at your current organizational structure and say, how do we need to reorganize this, reassign, different responsibilities within your current staffing structure so that you can accomplish that purpose. So do a little bit of soft reorganization. And then at that point, we're going to go back to the idea of resourceful versus having resources. So the one way to be resourceful and to expand when it comes to organizational structure is in partnering with other people at your institution, other organizations, to accomplish those goals and objectives. And then the last thing that I think is really important and critical when it comes to creating your organization and staffing is to find ways to automate. Look at those things that you do repetitively over and over and over again that could be easily trained to a machine to accomplish that, and then figure out a way to make that happen. I mean, we have eliminated a couple of part-time staffing positions simply by automating certain tasks that those individuals did. Now, we didn't let them go. We then simply figured out, what is it we're trying to accomplish and how can we restructure their responsibilities so that they can then go out and help us to achieve our purpose and our goals. In a little later episode, I will talk about how we have used Canusha to do a significant amount of automation. All right, as always, until the next episode, remember that nothing is impossible. You can absolutely do any of the things that we talk about in here. You can find ways to integrate them into your own program if you are simply resourceful. If you think outside the boxes that have been built around you, you can break out of those. And then last of all, if you have the courage to act.